Hero Class Civil Warfare by Rogue Druid. Chapter 7. What We Know, What We Plan, Lunch. Day 1, 13 hours 38 minutes, 1:38 p.m. local time. It had taken the Hero teams 2 hours to regroup, put out the fire at the government building, and sort through the rubble of both sites. Finally, tired and low on morale, they trekked through the city towards the fake Hero Agency building they were all staying at, a high-rise on one of the 4 center blocks of the fake city, a full 13 stories of rooms and basic equipment and records. Katsuki turned to address the gathered teams as they stood in the lobby. Listen up. We need to take time to rest and rearm ourselves. Sero, Hagakure, head up to the medical bay. Set a damn alarm for 6 hours so that you both can get back in this godforsaken game of tag. Take time to eat and go the fuck to sleep. Grapefucker got slimed and has been deemed eliminated, so feel free to eat or use anything given to him. It's all extra right now. This goes for the rest of you too. Rest up. We're going to swap to the 3-team rotation we talked about on Thursday. Shiozaki, Todoroki, Tsuburaba, and Ida, come with me for debriefing. We're going to call back to HQ, see if they have an update on the whys and hows for this clusterfuck. If you're not sleeping, your comms stay on. And if horror movie shit goes down, you fucking call me. Got it? He was answered by a wave of tired agreement and grunts. Good. Get some rest, fuckers. He stormed off and was followed by the squad leaders. A few minutes of wandering and exploring later, they found the operations center, a large room with a gleaming white conference table. Katsuki stood in front of the table as the others slumped in their seats. Ida took off his glasses to massage his eyes. Todoroki sunk down further in his seat, and Shiozaki seemed to murmur a half-asleep prayer. Katsuki synced his phone, and it saved mission files with the computer in the table. The holograms of the tables showed the current state of the city, both buildings attacked by villains sketched in red against cool blue. Fuck. Let's take this step by step. Ida, where's the building where you lost the truck's trail? Ida put his glasses back on and looked, before reaching out and tapping a building on what looked like a slow shift towards where a more industrial district could be. Here. Uraraka and Kodai identified it as a market, Yuki's Winter Goods. And you said it was some sort of tunnel or pipe down? Indeed, it was embedded into the ground and looked as if the concrete had melted around it. None of my team were suited to break through that, with the possible exception of Tsunatori. Ida pulled his own phone, sending a picture to be displayed on the table. Suddenly, Tsuburaba blinked and leaned in. That's Hononuki Juzo's work. He softens the material, then deforms it and lets it re-solidify. It's how he tried to trap Midoriya in the sports festival. He's one of the recommended students, skilled as well as smart. Tsuburaba also pulled out his phone, bringing up his classmate's profile and linking them to the current investigation on the table. The meeting continued like this. Each piece of evidence they found and each sighting of a villain was marked. Recordings of the original live stream and the explosion warning were linked, along with whatever technical data their phones had recorded. In the end, they had 4 confirmed villain sightings: Tokoyami Fumikage and Kuroiro Shihai at the bank, Midoriya Izuku over the live stream, and Kaibara Sen at the government building. They also had another 7 unconfirmed sightings: the 5 other people who left the 2 vans in the original security footage, 3 at the government building, 2 at the bank, all of them disappearing in the destruction of their buildings. And the person driving the truck with the turret. I couldn't tell who it was, the windshield was tinted dark. Finally, there were the signs of Hononuki Juzo at the underground entrance. There were 11 villains they had seen. That left 4 they hadn't. Katsuki pulled up the city infrastructure files and began to overlay them. Quickly, everyone saw the connection. Sewer system. Ew, that has to be gross. Shiozaki cringed, imagining what it would be like to deal with sewage in her vines. Not really. The city is fake. The infrastructure would have to be damn near unused. But what that means is that the villain team has a network of 5-foot diameter tunnels that lead below every building in the city. But look at this. The market? It's over a large cistern and flooding chamber. That's more than large enough to hide a truck if you could get it in there. Aside from that, the other 2 buildings don't make sense. The tunnels are more than 10 feet below the basements in each building. You'd have to have heavy equipment to move that much material, and even then, it'd be hard to get through. Or Hononoki could soften it, and you could literally claw your way through it. Tsuburaba muttered, his own screen pulled up across the table as he reviewed the events of the government building once more. He paused. He had a video feed from an intersection camera and paused it to look at the picture of Kaibara-sen on the truck. Then he noticed something. Hold up, what's Hatsume Industries? Across from him, Ida froze. The villains were gathered, sitting in a restaurant and enjoying a fine meal prepared by both their illustrious leader and a few other members of the team. Awase Yosetsu had helped out in the kitchen, same with Monoma Nato and Aoyama Yuga. Soon, everyone was enjoying a massive pot of sukiyaki with plenty of toppings for everyone to choose from. Izuku himself sat on the counter leading to the kitchen, putting him slightly taller than the rest of the villains, with the exceptions of Shoji Mezo and Koda Koji, who were leaning against the walls nearby and conversing quietly. Finishing his bowl, he saw that most of the teams were close to finishing or done. He pulled out a bottle of water and sipped it as he waited for the teams to finish. Smiling between sips, he picked up bragging from the techie table about the explosives that Yaoyorozu Momo and Hatsume Mei designed, and how Nato helped with production to an interested Ashido Mina and Jiro Kyoka. Another table is nothing but low murmurs, the more gothically inclined of his team relaxing and chatting. It was composed of Hononuki Juzo, Tokoyami Fumikage, Kuroiro Shihai, and Yanagi Reiko. They looked remarkably relaxed, dressed in shades of black, gray, and red. Really, even with the dressed-up nature of their outfits, something that some of the others had issues wearing without feeling out of place. The table looked remarkably carefree and stylish. The third table had the last of the members conversing quietly, though 2 of them looked dead on their feet. Awase Yosetsu was tired from the stress of driving through a battlefield, and Kaibara-sen had been tense and tightly wound for nearly the last 4 hours since he had to bluff the heroes. They were chatting quietly with Aoyama Yuga and Kendo Itsuka. Across from them was an empty seat, Con Man having left earlier to get some more sleep, which was fine. His act wasn't until midnight anyway. As seconds and desserts were finished off, Izuku clapped his hands. We have done really well, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is going better than I scheduled. We already have 3 of the 15 objectives, and we all know where a 4th sits, for now. A low chuckle ran through the room. Everyone knew where the 4th was, and why they hadn't taken it yet. It was a trap unlike any other, and would no doubt put them on the back foot. Beyond that, thanks to the firepower of Mei, our wonderful hacker, we even took out the slimeball Mineta. At this, all the girls clapped, and Kyoka even wolf-whistled in Sen and Yosetsu's direction, getting blushes and mock bows from the 2 boys. However, from now on we have to be better. Bakugo is already regrouping with his team, and likely preparing to respond violently and drastically to anything we do. As such, we're going to Phase 2, Duo Operations. Izuku looked around and saw everyone glance at their designated partner. Good. They better have remembered after 3 days of practicing combinations. Yosetsu and Sen, Fumikage and Shihai, and Juzo and Itsuka. The 6 of you can go get some rest. You've all been busy and stressed. Mina and Reiko, you two can also rest for a while, but no sleeping. We still need you for an entry in about 1 hour. After that, feel free to return to here or to the tower and get some sleep. He checked they were all fine with that and turned to the teams of true importance for this next part. Kyoka, Momo, Nato, and Yuga, your targets are up next. I've already sent you the plans. Remember, keep them from seeing you. Hacker will be available for support and research. Make sure to ask if you have any questions. Be careful. You are all key to the endgame. With the heroes ensconced in their base, we have a window of opportunity. But the moment they get an alert, all of you will be in deep shit. Izuku leaned forward, face serious. The 4 nodded, faces grim and determined. Koji, feel free to relax. You can pick back up searching when your allies actually have a lead. We have enough places to check now as it is. Mezume, head to the tower. I'll follow in a few minutes. Just gonna clean up here. The last of the villains filed back, taking the stairs behind the bar down into the basement, where an entrance into the sewers had been formed. A few minutes later, Izuku put the last of the dishes down and looked at the figure lurking in his kitchen. Alright, how did the investigation go? They know the basics, and because of Ida, they know about the sewers. Beyond that, the teachers have yet to update them. I figure it's a matter of time. Thanks, Extortion. Return to the hero base. Don't let anyone know you left. Of course. With quiet footsteps, the figure vanished from the restaurant. Izuku finished setting the dishware away and paused. He looked in the mirror, adjusting his hat and straightening his outfits. Eyes drawn to the camera he knew was in the corner of the room. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Or perhaps they all get played. Turning off the lights, Izuku left. The first act was over. Now, onto the interlude. Six days before the exam, after class. Izuku looked at his list. In the last 4 hours, the students of the hero classes had taken sides. After an argument with the rest of his class, Monoma had joined the villains, followed by a nervous Kendo. A few minutes of conversation later, and the information that Momo would be on the same team helped improve Kendo's mood tremendously. With her help, he had talked a bit and gotten both Awase and Kaibara to join him, while Tokoyami apparently asked if the ghouls of Class 1B wanted to join him. Seems like Hononuki, Kuroiro, and Yanagi were all too pleased to accept the offer. Tokoyami himself had joined up of his own volition, deciding that to work in the night would be a masterful use of his skills. Izuku was quite happy to agree. He had been surprised not long after when both Aoyama and Koda joined, each preferring not to elaborate on their choice. Then, there was the Baku squad's self-destruction. It had been fairly quick, but Izuku caught the start of it. Kaminari had suggested some sort of plan to celebrate winning, leading with something like, since Bakugo is leading us, there's no need for us to really do anything, is there? He'll straight up bulldoze the other team. Ashido had gotten snarky in return, talking about how that didn't help at the beginning of the year. Thankfully, Bakugo had been visiting Class 1B at the time. Not long after, Ashido had approached Izuku, and when Bakugo came back, he was frustrated to see her sitting on the villain side of the room. He was somewhat saddened that most of his friends were going to be heroes, but Ida wanted to prove himself after the stain incident. Todoroki had mentioned that Endeavor had all but commanded him win as a villain and refused to give the Firefly bastard any satisfaction. Uraraka joined the heroes to fight him and stated it quite clearly. It only stoked Izuku's own fire in the end. Then, there were the secret weapons. Hatsume was the easier of the two, bringing up how it would let her field test her babies, how it would be a demonstration to the rest of the hero course, how her equipment could be used practically, the sheer variety they could use and show off, compared to a simple fight like the sports festival. She caved in minutes. His other secret recruit was a harder sell, but the idea of training and getting one over on the best of the hero course and UA's own biased testing by showing just how powerful they could be? Well, needless to say, Conman was happy to join his ranks. Beyond that, Izuku was in his element. It wasn't a sudden duel in a back alley or a test with no prep time. This was a chance to fully abuse tactics, quirk interactions, and psychological warfare. Izuku hit the ground running. First off, while the team was finalizing, he got everyone's numbers, typing them up and linking to a chat. Then, he sent out info packets, instructions, useful resources to read up on, and questions about what exactly their limits were. Some of them he sent full books of resources, like Momo. For others, like Ashido, he sent more creative video examples, with more interesting to look at and easy to understand tools and information. But there was someone he wanted to talk to about this in person. So after class, he asked Shoji to join him in a simple walkthrough of the training ground they would use. And there, the two sparred. Izuku asked questions, pushed him. Shoji had come to Izuku first, had asked, had pushed, had wanted to win. He gave Izuku that first push to get out of his own mind, to actually act and decide to play the villain. He would pay that back by making Shoji a dangerous foe and an invaluable ally. Hey guys, it's Tempe. Thank you for getting this far. I really enjoyed reading this fanfiction and I wanted to share it with you. So many people wrote their own takes on how the Civil War for AU would go down, but I enjoyed this one specifically. So if you enjoyed this as much as I did, please consider giving me a like, comment, or subscribing. If you have any suggestions that you would like me to read, please leave a comment or send it to the email in the description. That's everything, so I will see you in the next one. Bye!